Good morning. I am Kim Hutchinson, the Executive Director of the Virginia Farmers Market Association and the newly launched Farmers Market University. I'll be sharing a little bit more about this exciting venture later. But our organization exists to serve farmers markets and farmers and vendors that work at those markets. One of the ways that we do this is by presenting training opportunities like this one. After our last webinar with NM Legacy Marketing, we had so many requests to hear more from them. Specifically, people wanted to see more examples of the great content that they talked about. So that's what this webinar is all about, examples of content and how to create it. We first met Navy Johnson at the RVA Black Farmers Market in Richmond, Virginia. She owns and manages the market, and we were very impressed with the market's social media. So it was not a big surprise to us that she is a social media marketer in addition to managing the market. Navy introduced us to our business partner, Markia Baker, who volunteers at the market in addition to being a marketing pro. Together, they are NM Legacy Marketing. Their mission is to provide consistent, organic social media marketing that empowers small businesses and startups to make an impact in the digital world. We are so pleased that they have agreed to share their advice with us today. But before I turn the webinar, okay, that will go on our bloopers reel. So before I turn the webinar over to them, I'd like to thank our supporting partners who have made this webinar possible. Virginia State University, Virginia Family Nutrition Program, Prince Charitable Trust, and the USDA. And now I will turn this webinar over to Navy and Markia. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank you for that beautiful welcome, Kim. We are so happy to be back and doing a webinar again with you guys. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Navy, and this is Markia. And just to dive right in, we're going to show you guys some content that you can steal for yourselves, for your market, for your personal pages, anything like that. These are all good content ideas that you can use to better promote your market. And we're also going to give you a cheat sheet with all of this stuff at the end of class. So that way you'll remember what these cool ideas are and you can take it with you to make your own content. So really briefly before we get started, I wanted to talk really quickly about the importance of not being afraid to change up your content. So we're going to show you guys a lot of examples today. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to take in. And if you guys are doing, or if you guys are active on your social pages already, and you might have some, slower posts or anything like that, don't be afraid to use any of these ideas and change up the whole game, change up your whole routine. Because what we do on socials is if a post doesn't work out, we just keep doing something else until it does. You keep trying, you keep applying new ideas and new methods, and you eventually figure out your rhythm and what works for you. We're going to talk about great quality visuals first. So what this means is you capture your followers' attention with high quality visuals and movement. And you want to showcase, the marketing action, the marketing color, things like that. So Union Square Green Market posted this beautiful post of just this bowl with the rainbow colors of the peppers, corn, and the scallions and purple cabbage. And look how beautiful that is. It's immediately eye-catching. It's bright. It's a high-quality photo. And things like that. And those are the things that capture the most attention on social media. People love to see color. People love, that farmers market aesthetic and everything like that. So this just immediately gives that out. You could see just the roughness around it with the scallion roots and everything. And it's just gorgeous. So bright colors, eye-catching. That's one of the first things to remember when it comes to taking pictures and getting footage at your market. And some days it's harder to do to get like a high quality picture, especially if it's kind of overcasty and rainy. But a good camera will do just fine. And to get a high quality shot, to get good clarity, like you see at Portland Farmers Market here, you can easily just take your phone, if you have an iPhone or even an Android, and take your camera and change it to a 4K setting. And that just helps you to capture a good high quality photo without having to, bring out the big professional camera or, get the photographer, to do their work. But just pull out your phone, change your camera settings, and that'll easily capture that clarity that you want. here. And here, this is a high quality shot here. You can see the details. It makes you want to grab one of these oranges out of the camera. That's a good high quality picture. It has to look like, it has to look touchable, it has to look tangible and things like that. And people tend to gravitate toward those posts often as well. And another thing that makes a great quality visual is, of course, footage, but a reel or a video to show your market in action. And here's a quick video that you can look at really briefly. This is at RVA's Black Farmers Market, just walking through the market. You can see people coming and going, things like that, that brings the market alive. That is a great quality visual that people love to see because they like to see people there. They want to know why they should be out there. And of course, people are usually monkey see, monkey do. Once they see that a lot of people are coming to your market, they're going to want to see what they're missing out on. So just a simple reel of video showing the market in action, whether it's people walking through, whether it's a transaction, things like that. That's what brings the market alive. So all of these visuals, high quality, it may be not really that real there because it's kind of gray, but the bright colors and the clarity shot, both high quality visuals that could be utilized on your pages. Really quickly, did anyone have any questions before we move on to the next slide? You can take your computer off mute and ask me directly, or you can put it in the chat, or however you want to do it.
There's nothing in the chat right now, but I will keep my eye on it for you. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're moving on to our next slide.
All right. So we are a big proponent of content that teaches someone something, teach them something. So, of course, you have your products and things like that you can share. You can always take pictures of, but don't forget about the fact that this is a farmers market page is where a lot of people learn about produce and locally grown stuff. So one example is just showing what's in season. Spotsylvania Farmers Market, they're really good at showing what's in season. When it's the spring, they show what's in season. And I believe this one is a spring post where it shows the fruits and the vegetables and a lot of the stuff that will be in the, at that market. And then in the fall and winter, what do we have? Squash, pumpkin, all that kind of stuff. Those are great, very easy posts to make, but really informative at the same time. So the second one is sharing the importance of buying locally grown products. So you can share the fact that, like in this case, Charlottesville Farmers Market, they share the importance of how it helps the economy. So you can talk a little bit about that. You can take videos of vendors talking about what it means to them to have people in their community buy their products. You can also have vendors or farmers talk about the importance of or the benefits nutritionally from buying, for example, kale from a farmer's market than buying it from the grocery store. They can talk about the work and the love that they put into growing it. Those are quick little 1-2 minute clips, or in this case, a graphic, just taking a picture, in this case, of the vegetables and putting a little information at the bottom, encouraging people to buy and that it benefits your community from doing so. This third one, which is also a graphic, or it's actual video that someone took a few graphics together with music to make it a reel, and it's gardening tips. So Broad Rock Farmers Market, they actually made a reel about how to protect your strawberries once you get them, or while you're trying to grow them. Because of course, farmers markets don't just sell food, right? They sell seeds too. I've bought plant seeds from markets and then we'll buy them and we're like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this again? Or I'm thinking about it and I want to buy seeds from market, but I don't know what to do with them. When I get them, this is promotion, education, and also teaching sustainability, because that's also a big proponent of the market, right? Is where the vendors there are doing things to sustain themselves, but they're also teaching you a way to sustain yourself also. So those are really informative, engaging posts. It's also a form of promotion because you can be highlighting vendors that are actually going to be at the market, but you also are making an impact with your brand as well. Some other ones you can use, like I said, gardening tips. We also, we didn't put this on here, but as a tip, recipes. show recipes of things that people can do with these items. I, as an attendee of RVA Black Farmers Market, I saw bok choy. I don't know how to cook bok choy, but when I went, one of the farmers was able to teach me. He was like, I was like, okay, I want this, but what do I do with this? You know, that's also great content. A recording of someone at the market teaching someone that's trying a new vegetable, you know, this is what you do with that. You'll probably hear us say this a couple times, everything is content. So if you happen upon a conversation that a vendor is having with a potential shopper, and especially when they're teaching someone how to use their product or cook a vegetable or create a meal, that is great content. It's educational and it's impactful. So it checks lots of boxes. With that being said, anyone have any questions or about either other content ideas surrounding creating educational content or anything like that? We could definitely talk about it a little more.
I have a question real quick about sharing recipes. What do you feel is the most effective or the most preferred by your customers? Do they prefer like just a single card to grab and go? Do you put together, or do you recommend putting together like a pamphlet, like, hey, this is the stuff that's in season right now in spring, and here's some recipes? Like, what do you think is the best way to convey recipes?
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Navy. You good?
I was going to say card is a great idea. That's actually something I'm implementing next year, RVA Black Farmers Market, just a simple recipe card. And what I'm going to do, and you're welcome to steal this, I'm going to get all of my food vendors. I have a vendor who does rice and spices. And then, of course, we got our produce vendors and things like that. I'm going to find out what they're going to bring and design the recipes based on what's at the market. Put recipes together and just kind of print them on a card and give it to people, you know, as they come in. And it's also something that you can post on your Instagram. So, you know, if you're going to make it on Canva, you can, you know, send it to Staples and print off as many cards as you like or brochures as you like to give away. But then you can use that same post and post it on your Instagram, you know, to also share it, you know, prior to people coming to the market. So they know, hey, I know I want to make this today. So let me go pick this stuff up at the market so I can make this recipe. So I would recommend definitely something that they can take with them, you know, because when you're in the kitchen, you know, you don't really want to have like to keep going back and forth to your phone. You'd rather have it in front of you. But definitely some type of brochure. If you want to do a card with like just maybe a 5x7 or something, you know, with what's in season on one side and then a recipe on the back, you could do it like that. Or you can, you know, do 3 different recipes in one brochure, however you want to design it, but definitely something tangible that you could hand to customers as they come in, and it could be used interchangeably as a post as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And just to also piggyback, like you said, that's first of all, that's an awesome, and that gets me excited. I love farmers market stuff. But also a bonus to that is encouraging your followers, record yourself trying those recipes, or you get yourself, or someone on your team, it doesn't have to be you, but you can, you know, say, hey, somebody on my team, hey, if y'all decide to try these, can you please record yourself doing it? So they can see. I get a lot of recipes off Instagram, and visuals are everything. So combining that card that you get from the market and bringing it all the way full circle with someone actually creating, and you know what, I'm gonna try out this thing and encourage them. Hey, if you make it, tag us, and you can put that on the card. Tag us at Charlottesville Farmers Market. If you make it, you can always tie giveaways to that too. You know, try it, tag us, and you'll get, I don't know, you know, certain % off or a free swag bag. We all love swag. We love bags. We love shirts. We love hats. You know, just from that perspective, you can take it a step further and add incentives on having people try it. And it's great content for you.
We have a couple of questions in the chat following up regarding the recipes. Betty Reese says that she shares a lot of links to recipes. Do you find that adding links to a post affects its reach?
Um, it can, but it depends because sometimes when you add links, well, I guess it just depends on your platform. Because on Instagram, if you add a link to the caption, you can't click it. So, and usually people are really like, if it's complicated, I don't want to do it. So if they can't click out of it, they're just not gonna, take the time to copy and paste the link and then go do it. So on that kind of situation, I would put those links in the bio, make yourself a link tree, or on Instagram, you could put as many links as you like. I think up to 7 or 10 now. But I would more, if you were to do that, like share a recipe from outside sources, I would say, hey, click the link in the bio to see this recipe, and they'll do that because that's clickable. But if you put the actual link in the caption, they won't be able to click it on Instagram per se. But on Facebook, you can put the link, in the caption, and it's just fine. Twitter also, let's see, not Twitter, I'm sorry, X. X also, Threads, things like that. All of those things you could put the link in, but just Instagram is the only one that doesn't allow you to put a link in the caption and people actually click out. So that will be my only suggestion. If you're gonna do recipes from outside sources on IG, just make sure you don't put the link in the caption itself. Say, hey, check out the link in the bio if you guys wanna, use this recipe, things like that.
Yeah.
Suzanne
And-
says that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say also with Instagram, you can label the link because, of course, with links, it's like a bunch of characters. So if you do put the link in your bio, there is an option that's under it and it says the name of the link. So you can put ravioli recipe or blah, blah, blah recipe. So that way, when they go to the links, they don't have to click, they can see which one it is and tap on it and then go to it. That's the only other thing I was saying.
And I saw someone.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I saw someone in the chat say they pin it, pin recipes, to the top, and that's an absolutely great thing to do. Anything important, really, not just recipes. Anything important, you want to pin it to the top to make sure that's the first thing that people see when they go onto your page. But I do think that's a great idea to pin recipes, pin, market day promo, things like that to the top of your pages.
That's great. Suzanne also said that they used to do a lot of demo recipes at the market and that went over wonderful. And as soon as people tried the recipes, they would then go back and buy what was being demonstrated that day. So that's a great example. We have a social media question also. Do you recommend posting something that lasts one day, exactly 24 hours before the end of the market, trying to maximize reach by timing it at a specific other time? So for example, on Saturday market, it runs from 9 to 1. So on Fridays at 1, the market manager posts something to their Instagram story. So there's a full 24 hours of impact. But she knows that some data shows that posting at specific times of day during people's lunch hour or when they get off work can be effective for getting early engagement and getting pushed to people's feeds. So what are your thoughts on this?
Keep using that 9 to 5 slot. I go by the 9 to 5 rule all the time when it comes to posting, because it is the easiest way to get the most views. As far as your stories go, you can kind of do whatever because you do have that 24-hour, time frame, and then people are going to go into your stories and watch. But as far as the feed, early in the morning, lunch break, evening when people are getting off of work, that's the best time that we think is good to post. So keep on going with what you're doing because you're not doing anything wrong at all. If you find that people aren't engaging at a certain time, try a few minutes earlier. Even something like that makes a big difference. I notice when we post, if I post something at 6:30, we'll get a lot of engagement. But if I post it at 7, all of a sudden everybody's gone. So like sometimes just a few minutes of a difference can change it as well. So you kind of keep playing around with it. But as far as market promotion, absolutely the day before, posting the stories, post early in the morning. It doesn't have to be necessarily 24 hours before, but it just has to be the day before. Make sure that, the word is getting out there, whether it's in the morning or whether it's in the high afternoon. But I wouldn't, probably be so strict with it when it comes to it being exactly 24 hours before the market starts, unless it's something, that you guys want to do. It's not a wrong thing to do, but I wouldn't, think about it in that way. I would just make sure it's a good post in the morning, maybe around like 7, 8 o'clock, and then maybe throughout the day if you want to just post little reminders or just pictures, saying, hey, the market's tomorrow, things like that. That's how I would go about it. Does that answer your question?
Definitely, definitely it does. Thank you. The thing for us is I work for Fresh Farm, right? So we don't have a page for our separate market. We now have a page for our 20 markets, right? So what I'm doing is I'm posting an Instagram story for my market, and I don't have the ability to post an Instagram post, right? So my entire strategy is based on the Instagram story, and it goes on our Facebook story, and et cetera. So it definitely does. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, we'll go ahead and move forward to our next slide. And maybe take it away.
All right. So let's talk about behind the scenes content. Because when we're as market managers, we're not thinking about this a lot, but like Marquia said, and like you're gonna hear us say a lot, everything is content, including behind the scenes stuff. And that could be anything. It could be, you pulling up at the market, nobody's there, and you're just saying, hey guys, we're about to get ready for the market today. Make sure you come out at such and such time at this location, things like that. Any type of thing, that people want to see that they don't usually see, you can still capture that. And a couple examples that we want to show you today is from MD Farmers Market. You see, you just have an amazing produce vendor here with all of this kale. Look how beautiful this kale looks. It's just abundant. It's a lot of it. He's setting up, he's getting himself together, ready to set up for the market. And these are the type of photos that people like to see. So if you're at the market on market day and your vendors are out there setting up, your produce vendors are getting things out the van, even if they sell off their van, because I know a lot of times our produce vendors, they might not, take all their stuff out of the truck. They might just sell straight out of their truck. That's good, but that's good footage, that's good content and things like that. So capturing the abundance of things that they have, them setting up, anything like that. One time I did a time lapse reel of one of my amazing produce vendors. His name is Chris Dickman. He passed away earlier this year, but he was a watermelon man. And I did a time lapse reel of him taking all of these watermelons out the truck. And watermelons are heavy, but he was doing it. And he was just taking the watermelons and putting them on the table. And the time lapse video came out beautifully. It did so well on socials because people just like seeing stuff like that. So photos or footage of your produce vendors unloading for setup makes for great behind the scenes content every time. And it also lets your customers know what's going to be there. Like, hey, I see all this kale. I'm going to go get some kale because I saw them post that awesome kale video. Or in my case, people ask me for watermelon every summer. Is anybody there with watermelon? So it's like when you post things like that, they know automatically, and they're like, okay, I got to go to the market today so I can get this kale or so I can get this watermelon. And then they come. And another good behind the scenes content is just a small video. I apologize if it's a little staticky, but this is us at RV Black Farmers Market, just setting up, just market prep. All the vendors are there, getting their booth set up and things like that. And this is one of those things where you can get your footage and see there's a lot of grass space. So what I would do is maybe put some text there, and that text in that empty space will say the location, the name of the location, the address, and the time, and say, hey, we're getting ready for you guys. Come on down at 11 o'clock when we start. That's a good market preparation post, behind the scenes post that people also would like to see or, can see. And you can do it in different ways. You don't have to do a video of people setting up. You could just get one video or one photo of one particular vendor setting up. It doesn't have to be the whole entire setup. But just as you collect that kind of content, think about that. Think about, getting the setup, getting them putting their decor, on their setup and things like that, getting them unloading out the car, all of those kind of things. You can even get them driving in and waving, to their spot, things like that. Is good market preparation post that makes for good behind the scenes content. And the last example I want to show you of that is and you might not really consider it behind the scenes, but it kind of is. Any acknowledgments or accolades or awards that you have as a market. So Overland Park Farmers Market was voted the #1 farmers market in America, and that is outstanding. So of course they put it on their socials, and that's kind of behind the scenes because it you don't really think to post, your awards or your acknowledgement. You're thinking more so of posting market content, things like that. But you want to give yourself your praises and your pat on the back. And you want to make sure that people know that you're out here working, that this is a great market. I want everybody to come, and showing your accolades and awards and acknowledgement will make people do just that. So that's good behind the scene content as well. Even if it's something like the whole award ceremony and, one of your representative is going to get an award, like they're going on stage to receive one. If somebody's there to record that, please record that and post that on your socials as well. So that is some good examples of some behind the scene content. And keep in mind, everything is content. So even if it's not, sharing, your produce vendors unloading or an award or something like that, if you are receiving any merch, like I did a video when I unboxed the bags, like we have our shopping bags and everything, and I did an unboxing video. That's a good behind the scenes video as well. It's not a market, it's not necessarily, a market aesthetic, or we're not outside, getting any footage or anything, but it's to show you guys, that we have these bags. We're excited about them. We're going to be selling them at the market, things like that. That's just good behind the scene content that people don't get to usually see at the market. So these are some good behind the scenes content examples. You guys let me know if you have any questions or anything like that before we move on.
Just one question in the chat. Emily Davis would like to know, what kind of content do you recommend posting to keep social media engagement for the winter or off season when a market is not open?
One of the things I can think of just automatically is shouting out vendors. I'm sure Navy's gonna give some more meat and potatoes, but I know what I've seen and what does make good is shouting out the vendors that have supported throughout the year. That's also another way to say, hey, if you are interested in signing up, make sure you subscribe to our, follow us. Make sure you follow if you have an e-newsletter. That's a great time to plug that kind of stuff to keep in the loop. Things of that nature typically is good content to keep people engaged. And even if any farmers share any behind the scenes stuff of how they're taking care of their crops in the winter season, that's more behind the scenes, but it's showing that you're still plugged into the community even though the market is not open.
Just to follow what Marquia said, just stay tapped in, stay tapped in with your vendors. This is a perfect time to share things that they have going on when they're not at the market, so you can keep on sharing their stuff, tag them, and you can tell people. What I've been doing is tagging them and saying, hey, just because we're not outside, it's not market season anymore, still follow them. You can still buy from them in the off season if they, have things, that they can sell, and things like that, just so you can keep that bridge going. You could keep being that bridge between the customer and the vendor, even though we're not in season. This is also a great opportunity to share recipes, to share gardening tips, to share things like that, while we're in the off season. And you can talk to your customers. I've posted recently, who do you guys want to see at the market next year? Tag them below, things like that. You could also do, if you have any products from your vendors that you've been using, you could do any type of product review. You can make your own recipes for products that you've gotten from the farmers market, and show a video of you using them and things like that. That kind of stuff is kind of how you keep the content going, so your page doesn't get stale in the off season. So I would recommend, like I said, tips, your recipes, still do some vendor spotlights and things like that, and make sure you tag them. If you have a website and all of your vendors are there, and you can shop with your vendors on your website, say that. I'm doing that with my website now. I have a couple vendors that are listed on there that you can still shop with, so if they want to, still shop with them, they just go to rblackfarmersmarket.com, click on that vendors link, and they can go straight to their site and shop with them. So that way, that also gives your vendors opportunities to still make money, even though it's not in season anymore. So just things like that. I hope that answers your question. If I have any more examples, I'll just blurt it out, but that's how I would go about it.
All right. And that brings us to shareable content. So this is important. So we always ask you to keep in mind making your content shareable. If not, and not every piece of content is shareable. Of course, when we think about reels and stuff like that, but you do want to incorporate it into your weekly posting routine of at least, 1 to 2 pieces of content that can be shareable. And so we have some examples. And so the first one is a vendors wanted post. So Upper Marion Farmers Market, they have put together a great concise graphic of just saying that vendors wanted, the fees, and it breaks down who has to pay a fee and who doesn't, which is really cool. The deadlines, it's all this information right here. And the great thing is they made this into a carousel. I just don't have the other sides. Carousel is basically a post where there's multiple pictures. It could be graphics on each slide. Some people put a picture on each slide where you can slide over, but it's also shareable because you can share this into your stories. Your followers can take that post and share it. And all on that one graphic is everything they need to see. And to at least get where they need to go. And in this case, be a vendor at the market. Shemansky Farmers Market. So Shemansky Park Farmers Market. They showed their information with their the festival with all their information. They also made this into a carousel. And what they did is they added each slide to show who are going to be the vendors there. So this is shareable content, and at least it will bring them to the page to engage more. Because that first page, it gives you everything you need to know, the location, the time, super simple, but similar to what we talked about in our previous workshop, where you can put the details of the actual address in the caption, but people that are in Portland, they typically know where Shemansky Park is. So they didn't put the address in there or in the actual graphic itself. So this is something that's shareable. You can, share this post, spread the word, and they can easily put it in their stories and everyone knows what's going on. This third one is Suffolk Farmers Market. They're doing a winter farmers market, which is also why their graphic looks a little different, but it's to promote the fact that they are doing one in the winter, because as we know, some people don't do one in the off season. But they have all their information right there, the dates, the time, and at the pavilion. Again, another people that are in Suffolk, they typically would probably know what the pavilion is, but I'm sure in the caption and in their bio, it actually has the actual address. So don't let that intimidate you, when you're trying to make maybe a nice graphic, something that can easily be shareable. And you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to fit all of this stuff in there? Reserve the address for the caption, reserve the address for your bio, and put the main location of where it is. If it's at the pavilion, if it's at, in our case, 17th Street Market, that was one of the ones, or second and whatever, you can put that in the graphic, but the main pieces are going to be the dates, the times, and the location, a brief name of the location. But this is shareable. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're making content. Is this shareable? Even going back to the recipes. A lot of people that I follow and a lot of recipe that I get off Instagram is not even clicking a link in the bio because they have it in the graphic. If you have a good chunk of it, you can, especially if it's a 3 or 4 ingredient recipe, that's something you can easily put in text and slap it on the picture. Or slap it on the video. And that way it becomes something that's shareable, especially if you just take a picture of your finished product, that's an easily shareable piece of content. That expands your reach and it goes further than what you can. So just definitely keep that in mind. When you're making content, add some text and say, hey, if someone was to share this, would they get all the information they need from it? If so, it's going to be shareable content. Other than that, do y'all have any questions as we're talking about shareable content? What are some things that are needed? Let's see if there are any questions here.
Before we move on, can I add something real quick? So when you're, especially if you're going to do a list of vendors in the carousel format, make sure you tag everyone in their in their slide. And what makes it shareable is that the vendor who's tagged is also gonna repost as well. So they're gonna end up sharing, on their pages and things like that. And then your customers will share as well too. So just make sure you tag so that they could see it, so that they can put it on their pages as well, when you are doing a carousel and things like that. Can we talk about credit and content, Regina? Absolutely. Please give people credit. Please, please, please. If you know who said something, or if you're, taking content from somebody else, put their ad in it. Just as simple as, putting their ad in whatever that you're posting. Or even if you don't know who did it, you can just say source unknown, but just make it known that it didn't come from you. And things like that in any way. But if you have their handle and you can tag them, you can say repost it from, such and such, something like that. Please do that. Make sure everybody gets the credit that they are due.
And I was just going to mention that regarding tagging, in our experience at the association, when we tag vendors and farmers in our post, those are widely shared. The vendors love to see themselves tagged in post, and then they share it out and they share it back to the market and they share it out to the community, and tag as many people as you can specifically.
Instagram, I'm sorry, Sarah, I just saw your question in the chat. Instagram has an Insta-share app that you can, repost other people's stuff from there. But I think that's just Instagram. I think on, Facebook makes it easier because it has that share button, and things like that. Of course, Threads, you can, reshare a thread, or an X, you can retweet. But as far as Instagram, if you don't want to go the old school way and just screenshot or screen record, use the InstaShare app. I think it's called InstaShare or something like that. I think it's what it's called, InstaShare. And you can go through, download that app, and you can, you'll type in the person that you want to take a post from, and then you can repost it on your page from there. I think that's the best way to do it. And really quickly, we're going to talk about scheduling your content. So this doesn't really have to do with, a good content idea, but if you're going to gather all of this content, especially on market days, it could get really overwhelming. And scheduling takes the time off your hands, and it allows you to plan ahead. So a content calendar, this is just a very basic sample. On Canva, there's so many content calendar templates that you could choose from. Please use them. It's so easy to do, and it allows you to kind of free your mind up once you get all this content. And an easy way to organize it is by planning what your days are. So say on Mondays, you might post a message about the farmers market or some type of motivation. Monday is reserved for those types of posts. And say Tuesdays might be Tip Tuesday. That might be the day that you post a farming tip or a gardening tip or things like that. Tuesdays are designated for those tips, those kind of content. You might want to pause on Wednesday and put nothing at all. And that's absolutely fine, because you do not have to post every day. You just have to be consistent on the days that you do post. And then Thursday is, whatever you want it to be. You could do event promo or reel, or, a still post or anything like that. And then Friday and Saturday is free game. If you have a market on the weekend, Friday, you need to be saying, hey, the market's this weekend, whether it's a graphic or whether you're on camera saying, hey, don't forget, we got the market this weekend from 11 to 2. Make sure you come out and support us, and things like that. So by planning all this stuff on a calendar, this way, when the week comes, you already know. You might not know exactly what you're going to post on the day, but okay, I got a good message. I'm going to put that on Monday. This is the tip. It's going to go on Tuesday. It just makes it easier for you to think about it, so you're not posting blind. You're not overwhelmed by thinking about what you're going to post on that day. So when you're gathering all of that content from the market, and you're putting all the stuff in your Dropbox, when you're thinking about organizing how you're going to go about posting, get a content calendar and just designate your days. And then that should make things go smoothly going forward. Any questions really quickly? Sorry.
How often do you recommend posting content on Instagram?
I recommend at least 3 days a week. And if you have Like I said, markets on the weekends, definitely do it on the weekends and load up your stories and things like that. But I recommend at least 3 times. And my 3 days are the hotspot days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. Monday is a weird day because people are starting the week and getting into work, and their mind isn't really on socials like that. They're on it, but I usually see across the board, Monday is usually a very light day for social engagement. But Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, when people they're just starting to get going, and everything like that, they're usually tend to be more engaging and active. So I say 3 times a week. Tuesday through Thursday are your hotspot days. Load up your stories on Mondays and Fridays and the weekend. And again, just because Monday is a slow day or Friday is a slow day, doesn't mean you can't post. You still can, but it just may not. You may not, get the same reach or effectiveness as you will on Tuesday through Thursday. I hope that answers your question.
And we have a question asking, what's a good content calendar? Somebody just started using Buffer but can't schedule a video.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
What is a good content calendar? They just started using Buffer, but they can't schedule a video.
Interesting. Okay, so I haven't heard of Buffer yet. I'm gonna have to look that one up. But I would recommend, like, I've used Zoho. Zoho is a really good scheduler, and it allows you to make a calendar as well. Canva, if you guys are Canva addicts like me, Canva also has, not only do they have like the templates, but they have a scheduler on there as well, where you can create your content and then put it right there. You just put in your credentials for your Instagram, your login information, and you can just post straight from when you create. So I will go from there, and then it'll allow you to do videos as well if you're having that trouble. And then also if you just want to just do it basically, make your own content calendar, and you have your own videos that you could just post. That works too, if you're having trouble.
And just one other piece too that we also sometimes use is the actual, if you're utilizing Instagram, is where you can actually schedule posts within that. Now it'll be like a one post at a time type of thing, but like say you already know you want this post to go out on this particular day, there is a feature within Instagram where you can schedule that and individual posts. So that's an option too, especially as you're trying to, and those are reels, pictures, whatever. Typically you can schedule those ones out too. If you don't, outside of using an actual content schedule, if it's just like one post here and there. All right. We're going to jump on to the next. So we have some bonus content ideas and best practices. So these are some additional ones that you can also add to your arsenal of content ideas. And so the first one is, if you have a SNAP and EBT accepted vendors at your market, that is great information because it widens up that audience of people that didn't think they could attend farmers markets. So we always, of course, as a society, we say eat fresh, but there's also that stigma that eating fresh is expensive. So this really is, again, it shows being impactful, but also really making sure you are reaching an entire audience that probably didn't think they could even attend a farmer's market or find anything that they could, get. So you definitely want to mention that. Worthington Farmers Market has included this in their post. We've seen tons of farmers markets do it, which is amazing. So do not forget that piece. It seems small, right? Because you would think, sometimes people think, they assume that people understand that you can come, but or that it's accepted there, but you don't. It was a news to a lot of people, including me. So please don't forget to mention that and post it regularly. Even if you just do it once, it's okay. Add that piece in there. Even if you are making content promoting the market, and just put it, and you can always include it in the captions. Don't forget, SNAP and EBT accepted. But if you have any signs, that's great. A still photo of it is awesome. So please don't miss those opportunities to share that. Sharing influencers and other shoppers' posts. We call this user-generated content. It's a big benefit. Encouraging your followers or your attendees to share their haul. I call them farmers market haul, where they take a picture and they show everything they bought and have them tag the market. If you come across anyone attacking saying, hey, this is what I bought today, share that stuff in your post. It's great content, and continue to encourage your followers to do so. Just like we mentioned with the recipes. So not only just recipes, but the things that they purchase, that's easy promotion of other stuff that you may have not posted that's at your market, but by sharing what your people have purchased. And then this other one, third one that I included, just like we said with what Navy mentioned about sharing your accolades and stuff, before even getting there, share that you need people to vote. There's a lot of awards out there that require the community to come together and vote. And some of them don't even know that people give out awards to farmers markets. So this farmers market in Hawaii, I'm not going to butcher the name, but they were going up for the best farmers market in USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards. And so they included the link in their bio. They just used a picture from the regular market through some words on top. Vote for us. One more week to vote. That is great content. And sometimes these type of awards happen in the off season. So I know someone mentioned what is some off season content. That could be one of them. If you're going after any awards, that's a great time to post, hey, we need your votes. We need you to mention this or share this post or whatever the criteria is. That's a great opportunity to get the community involved to still get support in the off season. So some other ones that are not listed here is asking vendors which product of theirs is most excited for this week, or maybe their most popular one. I know I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Edible Forest. I believe he made some content around this ginger tincture. I mean, I may be messing up the name, but it's a drink and it's so good and so good for you. Maybe what's the right way to say this?
The Swishle, the ginger Swishle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, he runs out, or he almost runs out almost every time. And when you start to catch that certain vendors have popular products, or that they sell out stuff, or people are running to you saying, hey, is so-and-so here with this stuff? That's a great opportunity to go to that vendor and say, hey, let me do a spotlight video. In just a 2-second, what product are you most excited about? Or what's your most popular product? Those are cool little short 5, 6, 7-second clips that you can easily post as additional promotion and for stuff, just afterwards. And then also showing vendors supporting each other. A lot of vendors, actually this post here, I think this was probably one of the other, no, this was one of the other vendors I've seen, Coco Jen. She actually shared her haul showing what stuff, because a lot of the vendors shop with each other. So other forms of content is asking those vendors in the moment, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z product? Or what have you enjoyed purchasing since you've been here? That's additional content. So those are other ways to engage with your vendors without just getting them set up and stuff like that. It's just other little impactful behind the scenes and enjoyable content that people like to see. So any additional questions about bonus content and best practices? I think I see some questions in there, Kim. My screen's kind of
small. What's the best way to reach Spanish speakers and attract them to your market?
I would make content that's in Spanish. That's the surefire way to do it. Make content that's in Spanish. If you have any graphics, translate it. If you don't want to use Google Translate because it's not always right, if you have a Spanish speaking friend who doesn't mind translating for you, and please get them to do it. And then you could just make a graphic, or make any of your posts, your captions, you could translate them. Just literally speaking the language is how you attract them. So that's how I would go about that.
We do have another question. What if a customer invites you to collaborate on a post? What are the benefits of that?
Oh, that's great. If someone invites you to collaborate on a post, the benefit is, number one, that post immediately goes on your feed without you having to, versus a tag, you see it and then you can add it to your stories and so on and so forth. If someone invites you to collaborate, it actually pops up on your feed, on your grid, and you can then at that point share it, and you can do even more with that. So it definitely expands your reach. And it expands both of your reaches, because when it pops up in the feed, even if the other person that's making that post, if they don't have your followers will see them, their followers will see you. And I've literally followed people through collaborations because I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And it looks like it's their post, but it's really the other person's post and they got invited. So it expands your reach and to a whole nother market of people without you having to make a post, and you just accepting the collaboration where it pops up on your feed, not just in the messages where you can share it in your stories. So it's definitely a good opportunity, especially for people that are going in on a different event or co-sponsoring, things like that. And maybe if you have anything else to add regarding that.
No, I think you answered that one. You answered that one great.
Thank you. I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right. Trying to find okay. So we have some key takeaways.
All right, guys. So some key takeaways. This went by fast. My goodness. The key takeaways from today is everything is content. We said it at least 3-4 times, but we want to make sure you hear it right. Everything is content, even the little things that we do to prep the market. So you want to make sure that your camera is always on you. Don't be like me and have a dead phone all the time. Your camera should always be on you so that you can get all the little things that you can get, whether it's people coming in, people's favorite content, people shopping, people walking through. Stay camera ready so that you can get every little piece of content that you can at the market. Have fun and be creative. It seems like a lot of stuff, like it's a lot of information that we gave you guys. It can seem really overwhelming, but be sure to have fun with it, because at the end of the day, this is social media. You know, like we're here to like have fun and take our mind off of things and get distracted. You know, that's what it's for. You know, we're just using it as a business tool, you know, but have fun and be creative with it and just enjoy yourself. Shoot in 4K. Like we said in the beginning of the workshop, take your phone, go to your camera settings, and at the very top right corner, you should see where it says HD. It might say HD or something like that. Click on it until it says 4K. Shoot in high quality so that you can capture good high quality photos to put on your socials. And capture the aesthetic of your market. Get the market in action. Get people walking through. Get your vendors setting up. Get, you know, like the beautiful bowl of veggies that we saw. Get things like that. You know, get the things that capture the aesthetic of your market, that make your market what it is. You know, like for example, RV's Black Farmers Market, you might know our big green and yellow sun, you know, like things like that. You know, I will capture that. You know, you might know, you know, a couple of my produce vendors, you know, you might recognize their smile, you know, or something like that. You know, a transaction in between, a hug, you know, smiles, things like that. Capture the aesthetic of your market and get the market action so that people can see how great it is and come, you know, to support you guys. So those are the key takeaways for today's workshop. Did anybody have any more questions or anything else? All right, well, let's keep on moving.
All right. If you've been to our workshop before, you already know we have a pop quiz and a giveaway. So I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to answer this question in the chat, and I'll preface this with saying, so we are social media managers. We, you know, we also do a lot of education, like we said, with workshops. We not only run socials for clients, but we do offer one-on-one strategy sessions, which includes us creating a content calendar with that client. And those that sign up for that, it is a fee for $400. However, whoever answers this question in the pop quiz will get a free content calendar created by us. And we would have a consultation with you to create that for you. And you would have a game plan and take it on and run, along with some Virginia Farmers Market Association swag, which includes these awesome shirts and these great tote bags. I love tote bags. So I'm going to ask a question about something that we talked about in this workshop today. And Kim, with your great eyeballs, if you can catch the first person to respond, that's who would win the giveaway.
All right.
You ready? Okay. What setting, and maybe just talked about this, should you place your videos in for best quality?
That would be Sarah with the Harrisonburg Farmers Market. She answered 4K.
Awesome.
Immediately. You didn't even get the sentence out before they started answering the question.
I know.
The chat, so like I'm totally neutral. So what's gonna happen?
Perfect.
We'll get with you. And then Ms. Kim, I think we'll get to send
Sarah, I need you to go ahead and drop your full information, your contact information, etc., in the chat. If you want to private message me through chat, I'd be happy for that. I also need a mailing address so that we can get this in the mail, and a phone number, email address, so that Navy and Markia can reach out to you regarding the content calendar. So give me all your information, please. Thank you.
All right. And we have one more question. So you got one more chance to win. So next question, the second question I have is, who can name me one of the bonus content ideas I mentioned? I named a few.
Laurel Burns says snap.
Yes. Yes,
Alright.
yes. Yep, that is good.
Being creative, behind the scenes, garnering tips. But Laurel Burns was the first.
Yes, snap. That was one of those content ideas. So thank you to both of our pop quiz giveaway winners. But wait, there's more. All right, we got one other opportunity for you to get a consultation and a free content calendar. And these are the instructions. We are all on Instagram, as you can see. NM Legacy, Farmers Market University, and Virginia Farmers Markets. So what we need you to do in order to be entered, follow all three of us and create a post either in your grid or in your stories and tag us. What's going to happen is everyone that does that, you have until till 7. What did we say? Oh no, till tomorrow, till 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We're going to tally up all the names. We're going to do a raffle, and we're going to pull names on Instagram to find our winner. That will be our third winner of the content calendar. So we look forward to seeing all your great posts. You have to follow all three and make the post in order to be eligible to win.
Thank you so much to our fabulous presenters, Navy and Markia and NM Legacy Marketing. This was amazing and so much great information. So excited to have you be able to join us today and present this. And I love seeing what all of you guys are going to do out in the community with your social media posts. Somebody asked if you can tag us. Yes, please tag us. We put all of our information in the chat. We love to see when you guys tag us, because then you're giving us content to post. So tag us, please. And in addition, for those of you that love all of these different types of trainings and education, we have just launched the Farmers Market University, and we have a 101 and a 201 market management course. We have a variety of courses and tools and resources that are available to everybody, regardless of your level of participating or where you are in the country. This university is open to each and every one of you that are thinking about becoming a market manager, are a market manager, are interested in doing something with markets. Please check it out. It has tremendous content across all spectrums that impact farmers markets. We also will have a channel devoted to vendor marketing. So that's going to be coming in January. Farmers Market University, Mary's going to drop the tag in the chat, but it is farmersmarketuniversity.org so that you can access it. Please, y'all are always asking us for content, and we've launched an entire university that is filled with trainings and programs for y'all. In addition, we seriously take your feedback and we look at it in order to develop new content. So take just a few minutes and fill out the evaluation that Mary just dropped into the chat so that we can look at it and hear from you as to what you want. Today's presentation was brought to you because you told us you needed more, and this is what you wanted. So give us that feedback, positive, negative, or totally different topic of what it is that you're looking for so that we can help develop content for you. Again, I'd like to thank all of our speakers today and our support staff behind the scenes for keeping this rolling, as well as I would be remiss without thanking our supporting partners and sponsors, the Virginia State University, the Small Farm Outreach, Virginia Family Nutrition out of Virginia Tech, Prince Charitable Trust, and of course, the USDA FMPP Marketing Service. Yay! Thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.